Meeting minutes dated August 9th, 2023. There is no special meeting minutes for August 24th, just August 9th. They'll make a motion.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of August 9th, 2023.
Motion by Mr. Ramia, seconded by Mr. Miko. All in favor?
Aye.
Second by Steve.
Steve? Oh, I didn't hear you. And then we're going to pass on August 24th special meeting minutes, passing those. Then, they're not, Ashley didn't finish them. Are you, oh, hey, Danielle.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
4A, superintendent's report.
Okay, so before I get into the numbers on the report, I just want to give like a couple of general updates on the plant. So we're just right in the middle of onboarding some new hires. Yeah, the new employee begin on Monday. We've got 2 more employees beginning next Monday. And we have a maintenance program underway. We're just getting that started from the ground up. That's something that we needed to address and get back rolling back on. We had a maintenance program going that Garrett ran for many years when we were short-staffed. That was difficult to run, and also we had outdated software and things like that. So we found a better option that's not too expensive. And with the advent of Jay Convertito becoming our chief mechanic, he's going to spearhead the maintenance program. So that's on its way. Garrett is now officially our laboratory analyst. He's been promoted into that position and is fully trained and running everything in the lab. He's doing a great job. So kudos to
Just
Garrett.
real quickly, of the 3 new hires, only one of them is going to be coming out of our fund, our general fund. The 2 are already included in our last year's budget.
2, if not 3. I thought there were 2 positions in our budget.
There's 2 positions. That's what I'm saying. There's 2
Right, and then
positions
we
that
had
are
a retiree.
right. There's 2 positions now in our budget that we have the money for. We're only going to be taking out that one additional.
No, I don't, no, we have 3 employees, but Ed Deptula just retired August 2nd.
Right.
So that's 1 that's covered, and then
Right.
there's 2 additional in the budget. There were 2 unfilled positions in the budget.
That's right.
So.
Okay. We're saying it the same way,
Okay,
I guess.
I guess so, but I don't think anything's coming out of the general fund. We've got 2.
Doesn't one of them come out of the
No.
general? No? Okay.
No.
I thought one did.
I went to lab tech.
Oh, okay. That's it. Okay. That's it then.
Okay, that's it, right.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
nothing should
That's
be
my-
coming out of the general fund. It should all be
Right.
covered under our budget.
Right.
That's a bonus. Happy to say that. Okay, so just moving on to onto our numbers here. The August report is for August 2023. So just going line by line, our average daily flow, we're good, right around 2 million gallons. We've been that way all through the summer for the most part. So that's good. That's half our design. We're happy with that. Peak flow did hit 12.1 at one point during a rainstorm, and we actually absorbed that pretty well. It was temporary, so it only lasted maybe a half hour, an hour or so, and we were okay. Our inflow BOD, I don't know why that's blank, but that was, is it blank on yours too?
Yep.
Yeah. so
Okay, so I think the average for our influent BOD was right around 150. So that's within our design. Our influent TSS it's been very high, as we've been discussing all along, 526. That's super high compared to our design average. Influent nitrogen 31.6. Influent total Keldol nitrogen 30. Those are right, hovering right around our design average. These are some of the reasons why we're looking to do some upgrading. Our loadings, so that came out as 0 because the math wasn't there, but it comes out right around 4,900 pounds per day. Influent total suspended solids, very high, 8,774 pounds per day. Influent TKN 500, that's about half our design, so we're good with nitrogen loading. Our nitrogen loading is actually not that bad. So, and then our total nitrogen 527 pounds per day. So we're doing very well removing that. Our effluent nitrogen, so you see we have 527 pounds per day, which is at 31.6 milligrams per liter nitrogen coming in. So we reduced that from 31.6 down to 5.7. So we're doing a great job removing nitrogen. And then the BOD going out, it's single digits. Again, it's not here because for some reason those all got blanked out, but the BOD is in the single digits. The effluent TSS 14.1, that's really good. Our permit limit is 30 milligrams per liter. As you know, we were having a struggle removing that suspended solids material from our effluent. We were in permit violation a few times, quite a few times in the months of April, May, June. And now we've got that under control with some process changes and working with Weston and Sampson. And just really going through the plant and trying to figure out how it's supposed to run optimally. And it seems to be doing much better now. Our removal efficiency for BOD is right around 97%. It's all the BOD information. Can't understand why that is. And then the removal efficiency for TSS is 97%. Our goal is 85% removal. So the fact that we're in the high 90s, we're doing a great job. So then our effluent nitrogen, in green there, 96 pounds per day. Our permit limit is 106. So this is the first time we've hit below our permit limit in quite some time. So that's good for us. That makes some money for us back in the nitrogen credit trading program. And then I just added these last month, and this is the second month I'm doing it, the waste sludge. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of the fact that we generated like 88 tons of waste sludge. This is stuff, this is the solids portion of what we handle as opposed to just the liquid wastewater. And we generated 88 tons of sludge that we needed to remove, but because of our rotary drum thickener, we were able to get that down to 36.5 tons. And so that's what we end up having trucked out. So that rotary drum thickener, even though it's not the most optimal for our plant, it is doing a pretty great job. So we run that thing like 16 hours a day. And we're running 7 days a week. And we do have a lot of trucks to haul that out, but at least we're reducing it from 88 tons and thickening it up pretty good. And right now, the operator that we have on the rotary drum thickener is getting the percent solids pretty high compared to where it has been in the past. So we're really trying to reduce the amount of trucks because that was a big budget issue last year with our hauling. So we're doing the best we can to minimize how many truckloads come in and out of the plant. And we are running with 4 full SBRs right now. So the second page for staffing, our staffing is, like I said, is it's all the same except that we did just onboard Gustavo Gomez. He is from Stratford. He retired from there. He has a Class 1 wastewater license and a Class 3 collection systems license. And he's great, very talented, great mechanic, knows a lot about pumps, knows a lot about pump stations and the collection system. He's a great asset to our team. And under safety, we haven't had any accidents or first aid cases. Safety training didn't occur, but we're doubling up in September, so we will get that done. Chemical consumables, we are still using polymer. That is for the rotary drum thickener to help coagulate, flocculate the sludge before it gets thickened. So that's necessary for the RDT. Sodium hydroxide, we use that to increase our alkalinity for nitrogen removal. We use neutralize at our pump stations for odor. We use foam free per the DEP in our effluent before it goes out. Our outfall goes to the river. That's to decrease any entrained air or any possible foaming from small particulates that might still be in our effluent as it runs out to the river. And then, of course, our sodium hydroxide. We used 4,614 gallons in the month of August. And we are finished with disinfection September 30th. So once October 1st hits, we are no longer responsible for disinfection until was it June? June? May 1st. And let's see, no noise complaints for the month and no odor complaints. Flipping over to our grease removal, we did get to 4 of the 5 stations. Beard Sawmill is actually going to be done, I believe it's tomorrow. Yes, so and there's a lot of grease in Beard Sawmill, so that's got to be done. It's piling up. So 540 pounds of grease for the month. And what do we have? Maintenance. For preventive maintenance, we do keep up with our weekly SBR maintenance, the bar screen, the band screen, our filters. We do move all of the main pumps, the grit collection system, the plant water system, and our rotary drum thickener. That's actually done kind of on a daily basis. And for corrective maintenance, we had a few things. We had a leak. We put a temporary patch on our sodium hydroxide tank. That's our chlorine for disinfection, or sodium hypochlorite tank, excuse me. And that leak is not, it's getting worse. It was just like I said, temporarily patched because we have to make it through disinfection season, which I said ends September 30th. But we just looked into this. That sodium hypochlorite tank, it's a 5,500 400 gallon tank. That tank is about 20 years old. We believe there is a crack in it, and the life expectancy of those tanks, the double wall tank, is about 10 to 15 years. So it being 20 years old, it's going to need to be replaced. So that's something we're going to have to get some quotes on, possibly go out to bid on, because it's not going to be cheap. And that it's in the area of it. Probably $30,000 plus. So that's something we might have to go out to bid. And we'll need that before May 1st, because the company that makes that tank, we contacted them and they are advising that we do not put any more chlorine in it. So we are devising ourselves a plan to get through the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to have to come up with a solution for that. Let's see, we reinstalled plant water pump number 1, so that's back in service. We have two plant water pumps. So we don't use any city water, very little city water. If you come to the plant, you see hoses, like fire hoses shooting water all over the place for all different things. We're not using city water. We recycle the disinfected effluent that we treat, and that goes into using it all around the plant and on the RT and stuff like that. So we're saving money that way. So we have 2 pumps. We try to keep them running all the time. So when one is, down for maintenance, the other one is up and running when we replaces it. And then band screen number 1 was taken out of service. Again, we have 2 band screens. That's at the front of the plant. We took one out of service because we had an old worn gearbox. The new one was ordered, and actually since this report has been replaced. And Garrett and Jay spent many hours getting that done, and everything is working for now. There's still more service that needs to be done to those band screens, but nothing we can't handle. And then we performed our filter service on all of our turbo blowers. And no tanks have been cleaned this year. That's something that's on the docket though for the fall. We're going to try to get into the SBRs. It's a process. We're going to have to drop a tank and get into those tanks and do some maintenance and service on them and clean them. That's pretty much it. Anybody have any questions?
All right, so if we're to go back to the first page, Danielle and Bill and myself had a call this morning with Deep about some of the issues we're having on the front page with us not meeting our goals here, our design goals. It was a good meeting. They understand where we're going, and they understand that there's a little bit of we had, stepping things up, but the nice thing about it with them is they assured us as long as we're staying on track, And you can already see it, or you can already see it in a lot of these numbers. As long as we're staying on track, they're not going to issue any, violations against us. But we do have to, we told them we would report back to them in a month and let them know how we're going. So they're actually very open to listening to what we were attempting to do to get these design limits back on track. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about it.
No, I agree with you. The meeting was very good. We provided them with an update that they were looking for. Because we had some, a complaint, this was brought up a couple of meetings ago, of a local person who was kayaking, just to refresh everyone's memory, had a complaint about our effluent and said that we were sending something out to the river that we shouldn't have been. And that was not that was investigated, and we did not actually have a violation of any kind. However, it did bring scrutiny to a lot of our numbers and what our effluent quality is like, and why we're having some trouble with solids and things going out to the river. And so we've made some changes, the changes that we can make, we've made, and the DEP is very happy with that. But they want to see projects on the docket for this year, for next year, for the next 10 years. They want to see major improvements. And now that we're working with Fuss and O'Neill, we're going to have a scope of work, and that's appeased DEP. They're very happy of the progress we're making, both in what they've seen already, but in what we're planning for the future.
Anything else about the plant report?
Can I make one suggestion?
Mhm.
Danielle, is it possible at the front sheet, maybe put the previous values in, previous month values in?
Sure. Sure.
You could do it, landscape report like you do for the removing, the grease and so
Sort
forth.
of minutes from last ones.
Yeah, no, but I mean, just,
Yeah,
but,
put it on there.
yeah, from the year, starting from July 23.
Well, you're talking about each month though.
Each month, though,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you put it in parentheses. If you can do it. Instead of portrait, you do landscape, or you see
No, but
widen the margins or something like that. So you can, so you can fit another column in.
Yeah, we could come up with something for that, so you can see some historical numbers.
Yeah,
right,
Comparison.
kind of like we do for grease.
that's exactly it.
Yeah, that can be done, sure.
Anything about the deep call this morning or Danielle and Garrett's report? Budget worksheet? What you talk about on this one?
Yeah.
If you have anything you want to say, bring up?
Well, we had the projected numbers for June 30th to 23. I know last meeting we had some of the numbers going across weren't correct.
They'll be done this month.
Okay, just, I know they're not,
I think the audit,
the audit's not gonna, believe me, they ain't gonna
Yeah.
be done in a month. Just out of our system. Forget the audited numbers, because that takes 6-7 months sometimes,
right?
just what,
I'm trying to figure out what this 30,000 is on 6507. Got a call into it today. I don't even know what it is.
oh, okay, sewer maintenance.
How come this?
Well, that's the 24 though, but I'm talking about 23 numbers.
But I think this is
Oh.
from 22,
The 174?
no, 30, yeah. 6507 is
He's talking about this number
You're talking
right
about the
here.
30,000,
Yeah, the 30,000.
not
I
the
think
current
that I
balance.
spent maybe 1,800 on two different things, but 27,800 of it is something else.
Oh, okay,
And it might be from 22. 22 bought it.
right.
How come the scrap this year
fee is so high?
They raise the rates.
Well, but it's, just a month. It's half of what the year yearly
well,
budget.
I don't, when do we pay out
For what?
for Stratford? Is it year? I don't,
How
it's,
much we pay?
no,
for-
I know how much we pay out, but is it, I don't remember, is it yearly?
Or, twice.
Twice a year.
Yeah, we already
Twice a
paid them, we
year.
paid them half already.
Right, so there it
That's
is.
the half-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
half.
Half expenditure.
The one that'll be interesting to see there, Danielle, is the, now that you're getting the sludge, what we're gonna hopefully save on sludge.
Not this month, but maybe start next.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, it'd
On
be
the
interesting to
sludge.
see.
Yeah, the sludge dumping.
I mean, I have to go back and look at the budget. I remember, I know you guys put numbers in there, how many loads and yeah, this is gonna be a curious one.
Yeah.
Anything else in the budget? Bill, you're gonna check into that, maintenance?
I will.
All right, that one.
And then maybe next month, just get, like I say, the rough numbers, the close out of 23.
Yeah, I
June
can
30.
see.
Yeah, that one would
Something
be,
close to that.
yeah, I'd like to see that one too. I agree. Hearing none on 4B workshop, or the budget worksheet, 5A Huntington Village, Ripton Road.
Hi, everyone. It's John Ruvo, Weston and Sampson. This previous month, we reviewed the sewer connection application, village development project, application number BCC 23-1 over on 30 Ripton Road. Some general recommendations for the project under.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Can we get the loudspeaker on that for that, please? I'm old.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Under general recommendations, just follow directives of the City of Shelton Sewer Department. On the site plan, we noted on a few of the sheets that lot number 7 was noted twice. I would just ask that the applicant update the plans accordingly, just so the lot numbers are consistent throughout. For the gravity sewer connections, looking to install an impervious trench dam 5 feet upstream from the sanitary sewer manholes that are noted as CC-1 and CC-2, just to inhibit groundwater flow through the length of the sewer pipe trench. We'd like them to confirm that the sanitary sewer lateral will be SDR-35 PVC. Provide core drilled and rubber boot sealed watertight joint connection at the new penetration. They'll be going into the existing gravity sewer manhole. Any off-road manholes will have their be bolted and gasketed frame and covers, and to also provide service cleanouts extending the grade with cast iron handhold covers reaching sewer to be located no further than 5 feet from the exterior of each of the new buildings. All of our recommendations for that sewer application. Do you have any questions?
What changed from last time when this was submitted I don't know, 2 years ago?
Mr. Chairman, it was the number of units, basically. What happened was it was approved under duress, if you will, as a 830G was proposed. And the application a few years ago had a lot more units to it, and then the developer sort of backed out. He didn't think he could make any money on that because of the earthwork that was involved. So in recent times, the Wells people and Ron Chowker made an offer to the church to develop this more in line with a standard subdivision. So even though this remains a PDD, all the lots are, they're not condominium, they're not in that format, they're fee ownership lots. So that's the difference. There's a lot fewer units.
Yeah, weren't there like 45 or,
That was, I think that was the 830G. I think there was, at one point, I think there was 32 or something like that. Honestly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I think the last one might have been 16. So we're drastically fewer units, and in a different sort of a concept, more of a standard subdivision.
you don't look like you're getting enough sun, Jim.
I'm getting plenty of sun. I just wear a hat. I'm getting plenty of heat too. A couple of things on the report. So I think Ron is there. He's got a couple of sets with all these revisions made on the drawings. I think he's there. Anyways, the revisions have been made.
Yeah, they're here.
Just a couple of things. One is on the impervious trench dam, which I thought was a good catch. I also installed a second one, sort of up at the street, because that's where we have a little bit of inflow into the trench. So we're going to do it in two places as recommended. And the second thing was the service clean out TY extending a grade with a cast iron handhole outside the exterior buildings. That's new. I've never seen that before. I assume that's something that's going to be standard for everybody now. Because we do have a clean out right inside of the building. So now you have clean outs, you know, within 6 feet of each other. So I just wanted to make sure, you know, that was applicable and that the commission's going to require that for everybody.
Hey, Jim, it's Matt. Yeah, we've
Hey, Matt.
we've included those on long gravity sewer connections for quite a number of years.
Okay.
Especially with just the length of the services here. That's why we did it. But I do understand why you're kind of suggesting that if you had to clean out inside the building, it sounds redundant. So I certainly could defer to the board if you're acceptable with just having a clean out in the basement as opposed to having one outside. But a lot of the projects in the past, we have had one outside just to make the servicing a little easier.
I don't know, servicing inside a clean out is easier than outside?
In the basement, you have a clean out in the basement on the wall, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
3 feet off the ground versus having one outside.
An unfinished basement, that's okay.
Yeah, so I don't really have a preference as long as there's a clean out.
I don't really care either.
We could relax that as long as you have a clean out.
Okay.
Why, are you saying there's not a clean out in here?
No, the plans don't get into the detail of showing a clean out inside the basement.
All right, so then we'll just make that modification, Jim.
Gonna make sure they're out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There'll be one going out.
Yeah, we're gonna do a clean
It's
out.
cold.
We're gonna do a clean out.
The soil type that exits the always done.
Jim, so you'll make that modification?
Sure. Yes.
Any other questions, comments?
No, I don't think so. So then it looks like, Jim, that since you don't have it on your drawings, obviously the clean out. And then Weston Sampson's recommending this impervious trench dam, which you're gonna put on your drawings. I'm gonna assume it's not on here.
It's on the drawings that if Ron has brought the two sets.
As long as it's on this drawing, and this is what's gonna be submitted to Bill for the permit.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Yep. Yeah, mostly those notes are on the plan
Yeah, I
and
got
profile
that.
sheet, but some of them are on the second sheet, the grading and utility plan.
I need stronger glasses to read the 8.5 by 11. Right in the first sheet.
Can I open up the big set for you?
Yeah, the big set has all, everything got.
Yeah, no, In case you got two of them. Attention upon A and B, she got two. All right.
Yeah.
We're getting old. We can't read
blame
small
you. I
drawings
can't either.
anymore. No, it's okay. I see it here.
Okay.
All right, so that one's good. You're on, sit on that one. Anything else, Jim, that you have questions with Weston and Sampson about their recommendations?
No, I don't. I thought those, it was all good catches, especially the off-road manholes. Yeah, no problems.
And so I'm gonna assume you guys are looking for, you guys made your recommendation. I'm gonna assume you're looking for sign off from us. Where are you on planning and zoning?
We're set. We're all done.
All right, so part of our our approval is we need the sign off, Jim, from planning and zoning. Not just something verbal. We need a documentation that this job is signed off.
Okay, yeah, we have that. We have that. We'll provide that.
But that's something new that we're asking for. Over the
Okay.
past 3 or 4 months, we had a special meeting about that. Because as you understand, over all these years,
Actually, I think it's in the report,
was it? All right. So just to reiterate, that's all.
yeah,
I'm just-
yeah.
I'm
I
just
think it's in
getting
Matt's
back.
report, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just getting back. So
Okay. Yep.
I didn't get hurt playing golf. I got hurt doing something more manly.
Oh, that's low. But on the other hand, the next 6 months, I'll be down here.
Yeah, right. All right, does anybody want to make a recommendation, approval based on Weston and Sampson, John's report, Matt's report?
I'll make a recommendation that we accept the sewer application from Huntington Village LLC for the 8 units. As per the report issued by Weston and Sampson,
Dated August 9th.
dated August 9th, 2020.
Matt and John, you'll update sewer shed 12 to reflect this job
No problem at all.
in your next report. Motion from Bill. Anyone want to second it? Larry, second the motion to accept application BCC 23-1 dated August 9th from Weston and Sampson. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Vote was ordered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Weston and Sampson status report 5B.
Little, couple handouts there. So this first handout that I gave you is the site utility map that shows all the underground utilities around the existing blower building. The discussion here is just kind of a continuation on last month, where all the underground air piping, the gaskets for each of those ductile iron joints and fittings is cracked, and air is just seeping into the ground and then bubbling up, and you notice it during rainstorms like this, where it just looks like carbonated groundwater. So if you're looking at the plan in the center, there's a rectangle called, that's the blower building. Then on one side of the plan, you can see it says SBRs 2, 3, and 4. And then you can also see the other rectangle, which is SBR number 1. And you can see all the utility congestion, all sorts of different pipes, There's gas, there's plant water, there's potable water. There is it's a big, I think it's a 30-inch pipe that comes out of each SPR into the floor building to pull the liquid in the bottom out the utilities, and that provides the air to each of the tanks. You can kind of see there's a lower one, which is sort of a U shape, and then the upper one looks more like the letter L backwards. And then it all comes together in the blower building. So trying to dig down and replace that in the ground with all those utilities is going to be prohibitively expensive. So what we're proposing is to kind of go back in there.
So bring me up to speed. There's a problem with these lines, the underground blower lines?
Yeah, Mike, so there, yes. So if we have, just use percentages, but at any given time, the air that we're losing from the ground as opposed to going into the tanks where it should be going.
Are these
We're
lines
losing
rusting out or?
We're losing like up to 40% of our air through the ground.
Seriously?
Through the region. Yeah,
The wrong gas.
I'll do that.
Use the regular gas. It's the high.
These were part of the plant upgrade, no?
No,
No.
that was original.
Those are the original? Oh,
Wire.
well, then that makes sense. Okay,
right. So we started monitoring it because somebody brought it to my attention and took a video of it. And it was the first I'd seen it, and I was flabbergasted at how much, I said, geez, that kid, so I looked at the actual CFMs of air coming from the blowers that's supposed to be delivered to the tanks and what was going into the tanks.
is there a gauge? Was there a gauge when it gets into the tank?
Yeah, so we have SCFM meters everywhere coming out of the blower, the outlet of the blowers and the inlet to all the tanks. Oh, thanks, Ashley.
Completely all around the building.
Yes,
Wow.
all the ground is just aerated. It's
Anywhere there's an air
every
pipe.
crack, everywhere, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes, so, as many of you know, the cost of running those blowers, it's one of the most expensive aspects of energy consumption at the plant. So to blow 30 to 40% of it through the ground is just so.
I don't know if you answered the question. I heard, are there gauges at the tanks just so you know how
Yes.
many cubic feet a minute are going in?
Correct, we know what's going into each tank and what's coming out of the blowers. So if you look at the difference between what the blower output is and what's entering the tanks, 30 to 40% loss.
You gotta wonder why that wasn't suggested during the upgrade.
I don't think anybody realized.
I mean,
the
that-
wrong gaskets were used, maybe.
When we went and
Did you-
replaced all the air meters to each of the tanks,
Mhm.
and in that process, one of the things the contractor said is, hey, Matt, these are what was installed during the upgrade required that they put regular temperature black ductile iron gaskets on. And for air piping, you really need red gaskets, which are high temperature gaskets, because the regular temperature don't get up to 200 plus degrees. They can't handle it. So the rubber turns into
What's
almost
the
like,
temperature of the air that you're blowing into the tanks?
250 plus.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not just air, huh?
Well,
Generated by a turbine.
Yeah, it's true.
it's
Okay.
just the natural temperature of it. It's
The-
not that we're heating it.
So he was using regular black gaskets.
yeah, they go up to like maybe 100 degrees, 120 degrees. And you need something up to about 300. The air that goes through the blower is also the air that cools the motor and the core. So it is generating a lot of heat, but it's also the process of the air kind of compressing as it gets sucked in.
So let me ask the question though. I mean, I'm not defending McGuire by any stretch of imagination, but we upgraded these blowers a while ago. Maybe it wasn't recognized that they weren't putting out that kind of heat, that kind of temperature. And then don't forget, that was 15 years ago.
They're old PD blowers. I don't know
Right.
what kind of heat came out of those.
So there's my point. So somebody says they're the wrong gaskets. Well, maybe they were wrong now, but they weren't wrong back 15 years
Very
ago when
good
we had,
point. Very good.
so let's not be careful about blaming McGuire.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah, the old blowers, I think a lot of the heat was lost to the room.
Yeah,
And this new,
Yeah.
the new one, it's all pushed out to the tank. So that is a significant difference.
yeah, you walk in that room before, it was like you couldn't stand in that room.
No, that was the sauna. So that so it seems like by fixing that problem, it introduced the problem by moving the heat through. Now those pipes get hotter.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you got another alternative.
Yeah, so it's the alternative that we've collectively been kind of kicking around would be to basically do above ground piping from the blower buildings. So then everything is up high and accessible. It also means you don't have to insulate anything because you're not going to be reaching to touch it. And then what we did is we showed through this other handout, just real conceptual kind of what the thinking would be to get the piping to each of the tanks. And what this also lets a contractor do is to basically phase in, rough in all the new piping while the whole plant's running, and then they can cut in one tank at a time. Will help with as opposed to like trying to dig everything up.
Is there any special height they're supposed to be installed at? Because obviously these here down at the bottom of the tank, does it matter efficiency wise?
Because they go up the side of the tank anyway. It's what, 20 feet in the air? They gotta go up above the height of the water and then back down in to prevent any water from going back into the blower.
Here, Mike, I actually have, it's the cyan color pipe, which shows how the air goes all the way to the top of the tank before it goes back down. So then that way you can't, when the air turns off, the water doesn't rush back to the floor. So we gotta tie into that elbow at the very top anyway.
Right.
And how do you just abandon the pipe? You don't have to fill it with concrete or anything like that? Just abandon it and put a plug on it or whatever? Dig down and cap it and put
That's a suggestion. I'd probably,
put
I
a
think
Fernco on or
if
something
we
like
just,
that?
if we just cap it, put it below ground, what's gonna happen? I think is that it's gonna fill groundwater because it's leaky. And then depending how deep it is, either that's gonna freeze and thaw, and you'll get some frost seed from that over a couple of years, or maybe we do build it like.
So that's pretty amazing then. We did those blowers 5 years ago, 6 years,
Started in 2014, first one.
14. So we've been
18 is the-
that inefficient probably for not the entire time, but
We started at the beginning and we were only figuring about 10%. It seems
so
to
it's just gotten worse.
have grown and got worse over the years.
Wow.
I think even when the blowers were first done, we noticed, yeah, about 5 or 10%. Yeah, I think it was about 10%. And then over time now it's just gets worse for another, 10 years.
So always the problem is, and this is something that I know Bill deals with a lot, like me, is the problem is you solve one problem by upgrading the blowers, but you don't think necessarily down the line what else is going to be affected by upgrading those blowers. So had anybody thought about it or and I'm not blaming anybody, don't get me wrong. If anybody thought about it, we would have said, oh, wait a minute, we need to check this old pipe out, if this old pipe, and then we could have done it at the same time. I think, did we get some money from the state?
Yeah,
And we probably could have had some of that taken care of. We had a 55% grant maybe from the state.
No, we actually had much higher than that. I think it ended up being I think it was like 50 or 60% of the project that was from the UI company. And
Oh, that's right, for
They
the blowers.
gave us 1.3 million. I think the total project was maybe 3 million. So we would have gotten a loan from the state, but they wouldn't have given us grant money.
Okay, so these are the kind of things we got to think of down the road
Well,
on anything else that we do. Okay, how does it affect anything else associated with it?
well, let's flip that thinking around. You can now go to the state before we start this project, go to UI and say, hey, look, we just realized we have 40% loss through our air piping. We fix that problem, we'll reduce our electric costs. Will you help fund that? And then you might be able to get some more money, under, if they agree with our thinking. I think we have a very strong case for that.
That might be a pretty good idea. We obviously have to do some testing and some data, get some technical data to them and show them. And that video that Ashley's got a perfect example.
Got the video, we have the flow meter. We have the flow going into the pipe and the flow coming out. So we can show that, we can actually show it and then based on that, we can say, yeah, the blowers are gonna run 40% less
Okay,
if we fix it. It might be.
hop on it, Matt.
I
Start the UI letter.
have
No, it's a good idea.
I practiced doing it, yeah.
Exactly. You did it the first time.
Yeah.
You know all the contacts.
And then actually, this is better to do now because we ran up against, they had annual caps for how much they give a municipality in a year, and we hit that ceiling in the past, so that we wouldn't even been able to get that money in the last project anyway. We were scraping by to get that built and funded, so we wouldn't have been able to afford this back then anyway, but now some time's passed, we can ask for more money, and I think we have a good chance again.
So so this is what Danielle and I have, and a couple of us have been talking about quite often. And even, I will say, even with Fuss and O'Neill, with Virgil. Okay, we have this facilities plan that we need to do. And we have stuff that you're gonna be doing for us, that you're gonna be taking care of. We need to, let's face it, we only have X amount of dollars to spend in a year. And how much we're gonna be getting from our benefit connection charges from anticipated projects, we need to now know, and what you're gonna have to try to help us. I think, and you actually been doing it, doing a good job. Okay, here's the engineering, and here's an estimate for the construction and rehabilitation of this line. Because now we need to start plugging in numbers into a budget someplace. Because we're not only gonna have this, but there's gonna be other stuff that's gonna come up down at the plant with these two guys. And then we're gonna need to sit down and start having this checkoff list and these budget numbers. Okay, we only have X amount of dollars to spend. How much are we gonna spend? What's our cash flow in a year? We've talked about that with the state today about cash flow and you know, how we're gonna fund it. And we explained to them that, you know, we need to know what our funding capabilities is gonna be. So you're gonna, you know, if you can just keep an eye on that.
We, like, in the past, we kept a list of short-term needs.
Yeah.
And so we list out the needs, we try to prioritize them, and then we basically put a placeholder for a budget after looking at it literally 5 minutes. And then if you want like a really detailed cost breakdown, then that's like, okay, let's spend some time and money to sit down and engineer the solution. Know how many pipe fittings and exact lengths of things, and then come up with pricing. We can give you more detailed price for individual items. And then like, so this one seems to be super hot priority. Like replacing the roofs is also really high. This almost seems equal or maybe higher based on your loss. If the loss keeps getting higher, then at some point, you know, you're not gonna have enough air for your process. But yeah, we have been keeping lists, but those are all short-term needs based on like things that come up month to month, like, oh, I noticed I need, we're running our sludge thickener for 16 hours a day, and the plant's only at half capacity. If the plant's at full capacity, we can't run the sludge thickeners at 32 hours a day. That's impossible. We're gonna need a sludge study and replace the thickeners before 20 years. But other things, other long-term needs, that seems to be going to wastewater facility planning, such as, you know, maybe we need to do a polishing step after the tanks, or maybe we need a couple more SPRs. And there seems to be a little bit of a line between those two needs.
Yeah, so can you resurrect that short term and long term? And either we have a Zoom meeting with them and figure out, okay, what do we think is priority? And what are the approximate engineering fees, and then what are the approximate construction fees?
Yeah, we can do that.
If you can have that for next month.
So I can put,
So you haven't put much thought into cost, and you're just presenting it tonight.
so this was the second step to kind of present a little bit what the proposed fix would be. I could put a scope of engineering services together as a task amendment.
Yeah.
That you could vote on, and then we'll need the blessing of the mayor. And once we have both of those approvals, then we can start designing a repair. But yeah, this is the next step, and I can bring that kind of the long and short term and long term needs. I can bring that table next.
All right.
Keep it up.
So you did all this color coding. Is there anything else on here that's gotta be done? You were just trying to,
This is what we know. This is just illustrating what's underground that we'd rather not try to dig up.
okay. All right,
Thanks.
that's it.
Yeah, this was the big.
That was enough.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. And any other questions for Matt or John? 5C, pump station upgrades.
So 5C, so we've been bringing to the board's attention, we need to upgrade the controls at the pump stations. And I'm armed with better and more information this time around to answer some of your questions regarding, the question came up, why not do all 5 pump stations? We're gonna do 2, let's do all 5, maybe there'll be less money or something like that. And so to answer that question, we can do 4. We can't actually do 5 because one of our pump stations, Meadowlark, that doesn't have anything to upgrade. It's 30+ years old. There's no PLC or SCADA control stuff in there at all. So there's nothing to upgrade there. So we wouldn't be upgrading Meadowlark simply because it needs an entire overhaul that needs to be brought into the current specs at some point as a special project. So as far as the other 4 stations that have existing controls, those 4 can be done either two at a time, or whatever the board feels is something we can
So
accomplish.
I don't remember, what are the 2 that they want to do now that was back 2 months ago, that one was brought up? What are the 2? Was it Bridgeport Ave and Bridge Sawmill?
And
And that was 40,000, 60,000 or something like that, right?
Yep.
All right, so we get the 100,000. Okay,
yes, in the previous scope of work from Aaron Associates didn't have the dollar amount spelled out for each pump station we were in.
No, right.
It only had the 2.
right.
So they did, and because one of them is similar to 2 others in pricing, it's basically just like a duplicate. Couple of very minor differences, but the price is basically, give or take, very minimal amounts of money, the same, it's gonna be the same price.
I guess my first reaction is we're gonna spend 100,000. We're gonna have this problem with the blower building, and we're gonna have the facilities upgrade. Can we really afford? At what point do we? I hear what you guys are talking about, but I don't know how you start affording all this stuff that we need to do. Is there anyone other than Beard Sawmill and Bridgeport Ave? Is there any other one that you can tell that the controls are older than?
Well, all 4 are about the same. We just figured to split it financially to do the engineering in one station. That's the 2 bigger ones. They're a little different because there's 3 pumps and they run constantly versus submersible. And then next year, we didn't have to do all 4. The engineering is already done. Not gonna cost.
When we did the plant upgrades, I know we had done a bunch of the pump stations, but if I remember, those were mostly just motors,
No.
pumps. Did we do?
We gutted each station, remember we bypassed each station?
Yeah,
Complete electrical, new pumps, new generators.
so these controls are only 15 years old.
Closer to 20 years old.
If we did the pumps,
2005, 2006.
we did that plant 20 years ago?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Time flies and you're having fun. 20 years? Are you serious? Come on, Gary.
They were done and out of there by 2007. All done.
20 years? What have I been doing for 20 years?
Getting old.
Yeah, man, alive. Okay, so then they're all about the same. You're saying they're all about the same.
Pretty much, except the first one's more expensive to have the engineering done on it.
Yeah.
Design of it.
Did he say how much? If he's gonna engineer all four of them and we just go with two for now, what's the engineering for all four of them?
Well, it doesn't change, it's just next year,
It's always,
how do you say, it? The footprint is done. We're just gonna apply it to each station after that.
so we're gonna spend the first one because 61,000 on Bridgeport Ave because that's the design of everything.
Yeah, they have to undo a lot of gremlins in the old system. Rewrite the book to get them to work the way they should.
And then, okay, and then going forward, we're only spending 43,000 on each one of the other pump stations.
Correct.
So then we're gonna have the design in the first, number one, is we're gonna sign the 61,000.
Right.
And then we're gonna sign Beard Sawmill Road, and then you only have two more left, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not sure it's in the cards right now, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's something to put in our short-term, long-term list.
And the other question was, that came up was, why are we able to use Aaron Associates and do we have approval to use them? Because we said they're a state, bid contractor. And we wanted to get confirmation of that. We did from, Paul Hitler.
Yeah.
So that's been confirmed, that is completely feasible and legal to do.
Yeah. All right, so then what's the next step then, since we're gonna move on the first two? Right, so are they gonna have a contract to us?
Well, I think we were waiting for board approval.
Thought you guys did that last month.
It didn't, no, there were still some outstanding questions.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
Trying to answer today, so that way we could maybe.
All right, so then all right, so then why don't we just, let's get a motion to accept Bridgeport Avenue and Beard Sawmill Road. How's that? Steve, I haven't heard you talk. You wanna make a motion?
Motion to upgrade what Bridgeport Avenue and
Bridgeport Avenue and Beard
Sawmill
Sawmill
Road.
Road,
recommend upgrade,
control system upgrades
with some upgrades. Proposed
at proposed pump stations.
pump station.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
seconded by Bill. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? All right, so we'll get started on those.
One thing,
Thank you.
item 5B.
Yeah, I think we have 5.
Did we skip 5B?
Well, part of 5B was Matt speaking about the air venting situation. Then there was an addendum to the engineering services.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That wasn't. The on-call.
Right.
Okay. This starts fiscal year 23-24, right, Matt? Sorry, I forgot about that one. Anybody want to make a motion to accept the on-call engineering services from Weston and Sampson?
I'll make a motion that we accept the amendment number 1 for the on-call engineering services between WPCA and Weston and Sampson, dated August 3rd, 2023.
Gene, you want to second it?
I'd like a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Want to make sure you're awake, Gene.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Weston Sampson invoice 6A, $5,685.
I move to pay the invoice from, Weston and Sampson for $5,685.
Motion by Mr. Ramey, seconded by Mr. Miko, all in favor? Anybody
I got a
opposed?
On that. I got a question on that. How come on the page of this invoice, there's one total 4971. Then on the bottom is 5,685. Is that two different invoices?
Probably something.
I,
I think they're kind of confusing. So it's, so total of this phase would be 4971 plus total of this phase.
742.
Okay, that's where you get the 5,685.
So one's just general fiscal year and the other was some assistance, WPCF assistance at the plant.
Okay.
Second one is 6B is Weston Sampson invoice for $1,177. On-call technical services again in the task order, Huntington Village.
I'll make a motion that we accept or that we pay the Weston Sampson bill in the amount of $1,177.
Invoice number 9231298 dated September 8th.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Vote is ordered. Financial statement. It's not going up much. Where we collecting our money there, at? Huh? You start fundraising. Do a GoFundMe. You gotta pay for Matt and John.
So thanks.
Have you updated recently your Excel spreadsheet on the benefit connection charges and how you making on that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. Motion to adjourn. If there's no question on the financial statement.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Vote is so ordered.